It was kind of an interesting time in the old days.
He's figured out a way to write code, to talk to nature, to have nature tell him as a system operator what it needs to maximize its gift to us. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And so he's harnessing what nature's doing, and he laughs about it because he's so brilliant, but
basically all we have to do is emulate natural systems here, and we can accelerate them. So everything we're doing with the sequester of the carbon, with the digestion of the algae, those are all natural processes that are in a closed loop, and all we've done is figure out a way to accelerate them.
I think it's the unique thing. What I don't see in all the projects is they don't close the loop. Nobody closes the loop with the exhausts and everything recycling and going back in. Carbon is our friend. There's nothing wrong with carbon. It's in what form it's in is what causes the problems all the way across the spectrum. Michael's brilliant on that stuff.
He just has an extraordinary ability to synthesize information from a variety of industries, if you will, agriculture and technology, and bring them together in new ways. He's incredibly talented at that. He's, I think, one of the best there is. And the Powerhouse is a demonstration of that.
We will either save ourselves with stuff like this, or we won't. And if we don't deserve to be here.
Half of this, I believe, has been just downloaded into Michael, and it's bigger than any one of us.
Michael's a unique individual. We even had people come here that wanted to look at the process. They'd call him the mad scientist. He'll ride by here. I'll bet you couldn't even guess what's going on in there. He goes, yeah, I was thinking on the way here, Chuck. I go, I can tell that. So you can tell when people's gears turn. He's doing multiple gears at a time.
when you take a walk in the woods, you watch nature's processes of what's going on, and then you walk through those doors,
This is where I say, welcome to Jurassic Park.
It's pretty amazing, actually. It's pretty amazing. It's basically what we're here to do, is to work with nature. I'm not quite sure nature ever had a partner like that, of anybody listening.
The Green Powerhouse requires almost no additional input, outside of what is already being sent to landfills in astronomical amounts. The GPH maintains an indoor tropical climate, even growing bananas and pineapples, while Montana winters reach as low as -20 degrees outside. Providing a half-acre of vertical grow space, plants can thrive in virtually any region on the planet. Beyond powering 100 homes, the GPH's excess energy could support dozens of additional greenhouses. Now imagine GPHs all over the world, processing waste to power communities, providing fresh local food, reversing climate change, and regenerating soil in virtually any environment.
They're disrupting, which is kind of a scary concept, but they're disrupting food, fuel, and fertilizer all in one little powerhouse, which to me represents the ultimate paradigm shift in agriculture. I mean, imagine now if these powerhouses could supply local communities with 50, 60 greenhouses worth of produce, and they're all off-grid and they're all carbon negative. I mean, it just completely changes the way everything works. It ultimately leads to energy independence, food security, food independence. I mean, we the people are now taking it back. And I think that's an exciting proposition.
We just heard a rumor that there is a possibility that we might lose our farm. There's some talk about possibly putting in some ice skating rinks or developing this area here, and that would be a real shame. We've just got it to the point where it's working, and spent a lot of money and quite a few years building it and designing it, and I hope it doesn't happen, but it happens a lot around here. So it's probably one of the greatest problems that farmers face is that land is too expensive for them to buy, and so you're not sure whether or not you're going to be moved off next year, next month, or whatever. So it's very hard where farmers are trying to grow food on land that they don't own. The city would make the call. Is the priority to develop more access to local food, or is it to build more condos? And of course in Orange County we've seen the answer to that story very clearly. It's build more condos. So we're sitting on pins and needles right now. We're not sure what's going to happen to our farm. Well, I've always grown my own food. When I first started the Alegria farm, I started it here actually at the house. I had 22 towers, vertical towers here stacked all over the house. We were raised on just amazingly fresh food. My mother was the one who always taught me that food was medicine. And back then, I mean, when you look back, you realize that our food supply actually hadn't been quite so tainted 40 years ago. So that's part of what's going on now, is that we are dealing with much poorer soils than we had 40 years ago, and hence the decrease in quality of the food.
A soil is not inert. It is a living colony of complex organisms. And as we lose habitats, biodiversity will go below the threshold heretofore not yet known, where then the ecosystem begins to unravel.
When you're deeply aware of how the bees and the butterflies are vital for your pollination, when you're deeply aware of how many soil organisms feed us, you don't spray poisons that will kill them.
You can kick the can down the road and you can put off those external costs, which is what they're called, costs that aren't factored into the price that you see on the shelf. You can push those external costs down the road, but ultimately that can comes to a stop. These are non-trivial impacts of the real cost of cheap food.
We produce all that food, we get it to market, we go in, we buy it, we take it home, we refrigerate it until we throw it away. And we throw it away rather than putting it in compost. I mean, at least we put it into compost, I would have we could ameliorate some of that. It's almost a sin.
Over 97% of food waste ends up in landfills, disconnecting the soil's natural nutrient cycle. Millions of tons of organic matter rotting away, emitting greenhouse gases like CO2, methane, and nitrous oxide. But what if something we literally treat as trash became one of the planet's most applicable resource solutions? Composting can turn that food waste into new soil. But less than 3% of this resource is currently being used. With backyard compost piles or utilizing your city's green waste collection, anyone and everyone can participate to help store huge amounts of water, carbon, and returning vital nutrients to our soils without the use of chemical fertilizers.
Recycling's been taking place for a lot of years. People know about recycling an aluminum can, but when I was just a little girl, my father told me it ought to be a crime to landfill anything organic. Our soil is starving for organic matter. What I love about what Eric is doing at Alegria Farms is it's demonstrating what we know we can do in a small space. And it's a huge concentration of organic material in the socks. The fact you can concentrate this amount of activity, life in the soil around the roots of the plant, and then the plants can grow huge. I mean, who can't love a guy that makes a salad right at the farm's table that tastes better than anything you've ever had? And by dinner time, you're not hungry. Why? Because of the density of the nutrients.
If we start refocusing some of our energies on the importance of soil and how soil can mitigate just about everything, including water quality and climate change, that to me should become a curriculum that should be as important in any science class in school as anything else we're teaching. You guys, this is fully composted soil. So look at that. Anybody want to smell this and smell how good it smells?
No.
No, smell it.
Ew.
Smells good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What does it smell like?
Just
like a forest?
Yeah.
Like a forest? Smell it. It smells fresh, doesn't it?
It's really good.
there becomes a thing, I think, when you teach children when they're young, that it becomes a nurturing instinct, and everybody's got it. If you don't learn it when you're young, then it's kind of intimidating when you get older. To have access to great food requires us to take care of the resources that produce that food, and to teach kids how important it is to rebuild and compost and understand the connection to nature and how soil works to create their food supply. It all is connected together. Thank you. All right, you keep teaching everybody about food, okay? Or you be the spokesman. All right. Right on.
We're trying to change Girl Scout cookies so they're healthier, and right now we have at least 45,000 signatures.
I tried to schedule a meeting with Girl Scouts. They ended up saying, yes, we'll meet you. You know, she got excited when I said, oh, they're gonna meet with us. Maybe she doesn't know the gravity of her actions, and maybe she doesn't really understand how big a deal it is. It was just inspiring to me.
Julia Lowe said right is right even if no one else does it. So that's why I'm here today delivering my petition. GMOs are genetically modified organisms. There have been no long-term testing done and they could be harmful. It's time to do the right thing and get GMOs out of the cookies. Thank you.
You did really good. I'm proud of you. And then last minute they decided that they weren't going to meet us. They said that the representative that was going to be meeting us was going to be in a meeting.
At Girl Scouts, we stand for giving girls the opportunity to develop into strong, confident, courageous adults who are committed to making the world a better place.
Everything kind of had to be focused around this one meeting that now wasn't happening. She said, well, that's okay, we can go anyway. Hi, we wanted to come up to the shop, Monica Serratos. I mean, they obviously knew about the petition. They know who Alicia is. We've sent a lot of letters. Excuse me. I'm on hold for Girl Scouts. They hung up on me. They were expecting us, so they know what our intentions were. Hi, I just called. We're trying to go up to the shop. That's okay. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, thanks. You want to hold on to that? It's heavy, I know. And then that is your gift for Ana Maria Chavez.
And Mama, you know what? They could have seen out the window.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, took your name?
Yes.
Okay, go there, I'm giving you a name and he's going to give you a pass.
Okay.
Then you go.
It gets heavy. Girl Scout shop. Serratos. Yeah. So what do I do? Okay. So close. I have to wait. They didn't put my name on there. It's a big part of my daughter's childhood. It would have been a cool experience to go up and see what happens at headquarters. But unfortunately, we were denied that privilege. Do you think they're going to send somebody down?
No. She called it right. They saw you out the window and they sized it up. They're just going to freeze you out.
For them not to take the time to listen to my daughter, it's heartbreaking. Here I am representing Girl Scouts, and then to be denied even to get up into the shop or to have someone sit down and listen to one of their own Girl Scouts. It's heartbreaking and it's frustrating, and I don't know, it makes me question the organization sometimes. And, you know, I have a lot of friends that say, you know, they're not doing what you feel is right nutritionally with selling the cookies or not listening to your daughter, and why don't you find another organization or start your own? And for me, there's so many things about Girl Scouts that I do like, that I think are beneficial for all girls. And instead of walking away from it, I feel like I can set an example for my kids and my Girl Scouts by staying in it and trying to make a change just like Alicia is doing.
It's the 24th of January, 2015, 12:41 p.m. I'm out at the GPH, which caught on fire this morning at approximately 4 a.m. And the GPH is a total loss. Adam DeYoung, the Chief Operating Officer of Algae Aquaculture Technologies. The GPH has been completely lost. Hopefully we'll be able to salvage the foundation, but the rest of the structures is gone, as you can see in the background behind me. You know, we were making a really hard push. We had a 6-month goal to support all of our own salaries and operations here. So we'd be self-sustaining and then continue to try and sell the technology, but really prove the value of the products that we're producing, which have proven to be very valuable in trials with everybody who's tried them. But that's no longer feasible.
One night, last Friday, fitful sleep. I couldn't sleep. I'm laying there, I'm half going in and out. And around 4:30 a.m., the telephone rings. And I knew it could not be good news. It happened to be the manager of the mill. And he was on the phone. He goes, "Oh, Michael, I'm so sorry. You know, but the green powerhouse is burned down. It's a total loss." And I was like, you know, shock. You know, you feel the physical shock. You actually feel numbness in your hands, and you're going, how could that possibly be that we could have lost this thing because it was such a, you know, vibrant, dynamic thing. For me, it was difficult thinking, well, what in there is combustible? You know, I'm going, you know, what could possibly burn in there? Still unclear on how the fire got started, you know. I don't want to say that we saw people running around the field with coveralls on, but you know, I'm sorry for that. But you know, what actually was burning in there? That's the question I have. So there's a possibility, you know, there are people that don't necessarily want to see bioenergy be successful, but I can't say, you know, if there was anybody involved. So hopefully we'll recover from this. I'm not one for conspiracy theories. You know, that's not where I like to go. I always like to think there's a good scientific explanation for everything. But right now I can't see the scientific explanation behind what happened. Oh my God. Look at that. The remnants of the GPH. The dragon and the dragon's lair, those all perfectly fine. The one thing that you would think would burn because of the heat.
Yeah, I'm gonna need your name.
My name is Michael Smith.
Hey, Brad, he says his name is Michael Smith.
Nice. I know the name.
I was the one that saw the fire, that noticed it.
You turned it in?
Yep, yeah. I saw the flames coming up in a perfect square. I say, call the fire department, it's a structure fire. It looks like the AACT building is on fire. They had a lot of water on this fire really quick. They did a good job.
But obviously they couldn't save any of the
Right.
structure.
It had come through the roof of the building, and when it vented air in, it just took off after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. It's like a person who's died in your life. You called or you talked to every day, and now that person is unavailable. It was more than just a building that represented sort of an ecological system. When it went away, it was like, well, what am I going to do today? Oh man, I remember, every beam, every strut going up, all of that. It is unbelievable. There's nothing salvageable here other than the concepts. The official report is that, it had to do with some biochar that was not completely extinguished. It was on the outside, but looking at the BTU rating of charcoal versus the devastation we're looking here and the amount of heat that needed to be generated, I'm a little suspicious. Wow, look at this. This is a device that's meant to withstand the combustion of a car engine. Look what's happened to the metal in there. It's completely melted. So we know the heat in there got to be pretty intense. I kept feeling like there's a block about going forward, and now that roadblock is gone. But the road is also gone. So now we can go straight up if we want.
Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That old saying is coming pretty true right now. We just got notice they are going to replace our farm with skating rinks. 2 professional NHL skating rinks and 2 community rinks. So we're going to freeze water and provide more entertainment for people, and we're going to get rid of the farm. And we live in such an entitled region, and I think most of the time when it comes to technology, California's way ahead. But I think we're sorely behind the country when it comes to this movement, and it's because people think they're safe out here. You look at the big picture, nobody's safe. A small earthquake that splits the 5 freeway here in Orange County 1 inch,
The trucks don't roll for 2 months. Every city has about 4 days food supply. Where's the food going to come from? And there's really not a lot of education or people wanting to do the research. They really don't want to know the answer. It's kind of like ignorance is bliss. Yeah, I am a little frustrated, and that's part of what drives me. But it's not a frustration. I'm not angry. I'm very much a realist. I knew going in that this was fighting up a river. I also knew that it was worth everything I could do to throw it at it. It's sad in a way, but it's good because it's a reality check. Where are we headed? I mean, where are we really going? And I think that's going to be defined by the political will, and it's going to be defined even more by where we set our priorities. About 2010, my brother's young boy, Aiden, had an autoimmune disease pop up, and this was a really tough one. Both kidneys were about on the verge of failure, and they were dumping proteins into the blood. And there's no question that I believe that it was a poor food, poor diet, too much salt, oil, and sugar in the diet. They were just eating too much garbage. And so this little boy's immune system just collapsed, and next time I saw him, he was in a hospital all hooked up with pipes. And I mean, I actually was pissed. I mean, I have to admit, that was the feeling. I was mad. And I thought, I was mad at my brother. And of course, my brother and I didn't talk for a year because he knew I blamed him for it. But I was also mad at myself because I said, you know, I got to get out there now and start teaching people how to do this because I know how to do it. And that was the moment that triggered me to do it. You know, a lot of people talk about it, but you got to go out and do it. And that's really how it all started.
And being up here now and being a part of this company and all the work that's gone into it is it's doing something that I believe in, and I know that everyone that I'm working with believes in. It's doing something that I think can change the world.
The vision for tonight was to just connect and share, you know, your memories and impressions about what the GPH meant to you.
I just wanted to say that I remember very well all of those days, lifting panels, soldering, welding, and I'm going, hey, I'm a computer scientist.
Everybody, even today, there's so much conversation here today about the future.
The Phoenix is rising and we're on a big ride, and you know, we're still a small core, but you know, I think we're just ready to expand and take this to the next level.
And I personally invite you to help us seed the future for the next one that we build.
So that we're all able to realize that and see the next one. So thank you all.
If you know the history, we got grants from the Department of Agriculture. I actually think that's what's held us up. I mean, these are, you know, feds that are supposed to be wanting to do this. And there was no follow-up, and you kind of wonder, where'd they go and why? Everybody's in the same game, and you put this in and it threatens the game. They were doing economic development for the Pacific Rim. So they threw an expo of technologies that would affect that. Of course, every technology applied, all the new stuff was out there. And, you know, we just put an application in. I mean, we were picked out of, you know, thousands. That unto itself speaks volumes. Okay, so put everybody's cards on the table, and then you pick the ones that you want to see change the world, and you're one of them. You have to say, somebody got it. Everybody just was crazy about it. And that just never went anywhere. And once again, it's the feds were involved. You know what I mean? So, just saying, when you get the big boys involved, somewhere in a board meeting, somebody's going, free energy? Yeah, maybe, you know, free fuel. Okay. You know what I mean? This isn't going to work. This won't help us.
And I think that's true. You know, thinking about the fire, if it was arson, and I'm not saying that it is, if it was, that sucks. However, he's hit about every challenge I can conceive, and I'm sure there's tons that are out there that I can't conceive, but he just keeps going.
"6 years of my life has just been, you know, I can't say wasted, but is gone.
You know, it was depressing. But then, you know, what we have is each other.
Michael and Diane put everything they make into it. I mean, she's recycling and taking the recycle money and putting back into it. So, you know what I mean? It's really that.
It was hard to go out there. I didn't go out there for 3 months. It was just, there's no way I could just go look at the rubble.
Yeah, here's some old GPH scrap here.
When we saw that this project was going to consume our lives, it's like we nicknamed it our energy baby. He's just got this spirit that you see in his eyes. It was a love at first sight kind of thing.
And it puts stress on a relationship. Occasionally we lose our minds, start screaming at the top of our lungs, running off into the woods, just, you know, why are we doing this, you know? Anybody else would have given up by now. Suddenly our source of revenue, our revenue stream just disappeared on us. And that put a lot of undue pressure on the company. Until we get the system up and running again, it's going to be quite a struggle to make this all work.
Our society as a whole has a need of a soul healing. This is the reason I think we have so many problems in society today, is that we have these souls that yearn. In 1985, I was completely bereft. It was a February day and it was raining. I had gone through a job and been turned down again. And I was in a suit. I really felt as though society had deemed me a marginal person, and wondered fruitlessly. I knew I had to change, but I didn't know what was changing. I didn't know how it was going to change. And I had parked in a parking lot for a community garden. I got out of the car in the rain and walked through that garden. There was a feeling of such hopelessness and despair that there was no reason to continue. There was no reason to go on. And yet, walking through that garden somehow reaffirmed my worth, because I knew these plants. And these plants were talking to me.
I've reached out to the Girl Scouts and they still haven't gotten back to me. You never know what could be happening there. Trouble could be happening. They're either busy or they're just not listening. But we're still gonna keep trying.
Hi, Alicia. How you doing?
You cannot have food security if you cannot be seed secure.
I met David King and he talked to me about how seeds are really important.
These people are telling us that they're going to feed the world, right, with less diversity than what we had before, and that's not the way towards abundance. That's the way towards starvation.
Some seeds have already gone extinct because people aren't saving them. And if we don't save seeds and all of them are gone, we won't have food.
Anytime you engage nature in a fight, you're losing. You're going to lose sooner or later. And look we've got super weeds now. We've got super insects now. These people inventing these GMOs, were they creationists? Did they think that the bugs and the insects weren't going to change? Good grief, no. That's why I think having a seed library where the seeds are growing out year after year, they respond. There's a dance in nature where the plant gets better, the weeds get better, insects get better, the plant gets better, the weeds get better, the insects get better. And that evolution is important. And it's important for our food, it's important for the entire balance of things.
The amount of extinction that's going on in seed varieties is unprecedented. Now, that's the source of our agricultural diversity. That's the source of our food security, especially at a time of global climate change. If the biotech industry has their way, they eliminate that diversity and put the entire food security at risk for greater profit.
So we are creating a food scarcity system in the name of providing food. My own work is at the level of ecological science. I look at farming systems as a whole, how biodiversity produces more nutrition when you save the seeds and grow the foods.
What do you think? You want to start a seed library at your school? Is that something you think you could be in charge of? Yeah.
You can destroy everything. You can take away our books and our writings and destroy our cultures. You can kill every tree till no bird, no insect can find a place to hide. You can do that and more. I do not fear your tyranny. I do not despair ever, because I saved one seed, which I will sow and plant again.
Everybody thinks water's the biggest problem we have, and oil, right? That's what you always hear. We got big energy problems. Well, what's the most important energy that you guys are dealing with every day? The most important, what is it called? Food. So what's the problem with our food today? Anybody know? Okay, it's not healthy. That's a really great answer. It travels so far most of the time that it's dead. You guys are all young and you guys are being subjected to a food supply that's in bags and, you know, it's not natural. You're hardly ever eating food that you just picked, you know, right out of a good clean soil that has high nutrition in it. So this system actually allows you to do that. So we can lay these out over the top of cement. We can put them on a parking lot. There's about 40 square miles of unused land in Orange County and Los Angeles County right now. Unused.
The whole idea for the garden, I think, came from just wanting access to better nutrition. I just thought school garden would be cool.
Rather than selling Girl Scout cookies, they had raised money already for a future school garden.
I drew some examples of what we should get with the money. So when it was grass, we had to figure out where the beds would go.
The suggestion of the city of Mission Viejo was, let's just spray it with Roundup. And so obviously we said that's not going to work for our organic garden.
We were able to break ground and got some beds in there, and little by little it's kind of grown.
What are the things that plants need? Air, sun, water, and what's the last one? Nutrients. You just hit it. And by the way, 4 things that our own bodies need, right? So look at the soil and pretend it's your blood. Whatever's in that soil, as soon as you eat that plant, it's in your blood. We're going to teach you to fish. We're not going to give you a fish. And guess what? When you guys learn this, you're going to be independent. You're going to be safe. Okay, that's total security when you guys know how to grow your own food.
And then now we have the garden. People are having a good experience with it.
When I see our garden space, it makes me think like, this is just a mini little world that we created here on campus. When I see the butterflies flying around, or when I see a hummingbird or the bees, it's a whole completely different picture than just growing food. There's nothing that's ever gonna compare to like saying your child or you helped plant a seed and you watched it grow and I ate it. Nothing really compares to that. That's something money can't buy. We give to the plants and the plants give to us. And I think it's remembering that cycle and remembering that it's not the world and nature and then us. We have to mutually live together. Because the fact is, if we forget that, there's gonna come a point in time where we're gonna destroy that.
we have to keep going. We have to keep pushing forward on this. You know, you can see right now the planetary systems are in trouble. At this point in my life, I kind of look at it and go, well, I can't imagine doing anything else, to tell you the truth. Sort of like, what? I'm going to go back and make video games? I mean, how meaningful is that? Right? Let's go make a whole bunch of money. How meaningful is that when you can't eat or there's no water? You know, it's just, it's crazy.
There's hard work that needs to be done, and it's not pretty, but it needs to be done. Those alert enough among us are obligated to help. You don't get points for doing the right thing, and that's the right thing. You just have to do it.
In many cases, it's just as simple as becoming more connected to your community, thinking more locally, and realizing that every community has assets, whether it's people or organizations or even resources that they can draw on to find solutions.
So what's happening now with the internet and with independent media is that people are realizing that they're not alone and that these fantastic values, community-based and proper agriculture, et cetera, they're all actually on the rise enormously around the planet.
The rule of evolution is those organisms that can adapt to change triumph. It's an all hands on deck, not only just of humans, but it's very important that we preserve biodiversity, because biodiversity is biosecurity. So keeping that all in balance is the eloquent dance that we have to be involved in as we dance across the landscapes through our lives.
The future of our food system is in our hands. Agriculture can either erode our planet to the point of no return, or it can become a regenerative force to heal our soils, restore ecosystems, and create true food security. The actions taken within the next few years will have environmental ramifications lasting for generations.
In life, the phrase, "it's too late," doesn't work. Life is about renewal. Life is about healing. Life is about bursting forth again and again and again.
I look around, I see children, and I think that we've got to try for them.
Take a couple.
You know, and the honest truth is that as long as I can breathe, there's a reason to try. If it can be averted, or even partially averted, what comes after me, I owe that to them.
Solutions and opportunities are happening everywhere. People from all walks of life are shopping organic, supporting local regenerative farmers, and even growing some of their own food. Whether you have lots of land, a small backyard, or even just a balcony, solutions like vertical farming, composting, biochar, and school gardens are all ways to protect and support our planet's soils.
I'm looking at the connection of soil health equals human health equals planet health. The solution is access to nutrient-dense food. But there are very few places where people can actually see, taste, feel, participate, an interactive farm, if you will, that makes that connection.
I just wanted the world to be a better place, and it's kind of exciting to see that stuff is changing.
What else do we have to do that's of any importance? Now, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind for the future generations?
With only 60 years of farmable soil remaining, how to feed the world without destroying the earth is truly the issue of our time. To say that we care about the future of this planet, to say that we care about the survival of our species, and to not take action is simply no longer an option. As active participants in our interconnected food ecosystem, we each have the power to help heal this planet we call home. Everybody eats, and everybody can be part of the solution.
It was never about this one system. It was about demonstrating an example of how we can take care of ourselves and the planet